Hello, I'm here today to talk to you about social learning theory. It was discovered by Albert Bandura in 1977. It was one of the most influential theories in learning and development. It added a social element to the traditional learning theory. This social element is that people learn through watching others. Now, there are three core concepts to social learning theory. This is that people learn through observation, mental states are important to learning, and learning does not necessarily lead to changes in behavior. Now, there are three ways of learning through observation. The first is a live model demonstrating the behavior. So this would be someone physically acting out a behavior for someone else to see. Next is a verbal model, which involves descriptions and explanations of the behavior. This would be someone explaining a behavior to someone else. And finally is a symbolic model, which involves real or fictional characters displaying behaviors. So this is like when you watch a movie and how the actors behave. Next, mental states are important to learning. Now, external reinforcement is not the only factor influencing behavior. There are certain intrinsic reinforcements such as pride, satisfaction, and a sense of accomplishment. If you're proud of something you've done, you're much more likely to repeat that behavior. Next, learning does not necessarily lead to changes in behavior. Now, behavior may be observed but not effectively learned. So there are 4 requirements necessary for learning to be effective. These include attention. You need to actually be paying attention to what's going on. Next is retention, which is the ability to store and recall information, which is essential to learning because you need to remember and be able to recall it at future times. Next is reproduction, which is actually performing the behavior. And finally is motivation, which is the likelihood of doing the behavior. Reinforcement increases the likelihood of the behavior, and punishment decreases the likelihood of the behavior. So, motivation theory and marketing. Now, consumers are buying satisfaction and solution, not products. There are different reasons for buying a product. These include power, status, acceptance, excitement, adventure, etc. So as a marketer, you need to know the motives of your consumers and create demand for your product. So there are 2 types of motivation, manifest and latent. Manifest is known. It is, people will admit to these. It's such as stylish, it's popular, it looks good. Latent is unknown, or the consumer doesn't want to admit it. These are, it makes me more sexually desirable, or it shows my status. So as a marketer, you need to determine consumer motives and therefore design a marketing strategy around those motives. If you're going for manifest, show group acceptance. If you're going for latent, maybe have subtle sexual undertones or have expensive product placement. Next are reference groups. Reference groups are basically a group that someone uses as a basis for his or her behavior. There are 3 types. The first is informational. This is where an individual uses the opinions and behavior of their reference group to make decisions. For example, if your favorite sports team drinks vitamin water, you're more likely to drink vitamin water. Next is normative, in which the individual fulfills group expectations to receive a reward or avoid a punishment. And finally is identification, in which someone has the same norms or values as their reference group. Now, how do we use this for marketing? For informational, you want to attempt to form a pair with an established organization. So if you're selling a sports drink, maybe try to have a popular sports team drink your drink. If it's normative, your ad should stress either social acceptance or social disapproval based on use or non-use of the product. Finally, next is identification. This is when a person witnesses someone they aspire to be like doing a certain behavior. That makes them more likely to do the behavior as well. So as an aspiring business person, if I see a successful businessman eating healthy foods, I'm more likely to eat healthy foods. So attention in marketing. Consumer attention is extremely selective because we are constantly bombarded with so much stimuli that we cannot process it all. So we have to pick the things that we like to attend to. So there are 3 important factors that will determine attention. The first being stimulus. This includes size, attractiveness, intensity, etc. So If it's big or if it's pretty or bright, they're more likely to pay attention to it. Next is individual. They have to be motivated to buy your product and motivated to understand the benefits of the product. Next is ability. They need to be able to understand the benefits of the product. And finally, situational. If there's too much clutter in or around your ad, they're less likely to pay attention to it. And in conclusion, you just need to know your market and know who you're marketing to and what influences the decisions they make. You need to know how to get their attention and how to keep it. Remember, people learn through example. Thank you, and I hope this was very informative.